Remember when Blizzard was the studio every gamer worshipped? The home of Warcraft, StarCraft, Diablo, World of Warcraft, Overwatch, and BlizzCon felt like a yearly holy pilgrimage, players boycotting the company, employees walking out of the office holding protest signs, government agencies suing them for harassment and discrimination, and headlines calling it gaming's Me Too moment. This is the story of how Activision Blizzard went from the most beloved studio in PC gaming to one of its most controversial villains. Stay to the end, because we're also going to look at whether the Microsoft buyout and new unions inside the company are enough to redeem it, or if the damage is permanent. To understand how hard the fall was, you have to remember just how high Blizzard climbed. In the 90s and 2000s, Blizzard could do no wrong. Warcraft reshaped RTS games. StarCraft helped build esports before esports was cool. World of Warcraft literally defined the MMO genre, and at its peak had millions of subscribers, dominating PC gaming culture for years. Later, Overwatch became a global hero shooter phenomenon, with cosplay, fan art, and the Overwatch League making it feel like the NFL of esports.
Yada charging up a shot, doesn't want to try and risk that going up against Oyo, and Russia already on the point getting percentage.
Oh, Venomine already dead. Shadowburn's in the back line, misses the dash, but he doesn't miss the shurikens. 18 going low as well. Shadowburn dashes in, reset after reset, it's going to kill Shaolin. Triple kill on the Vanilla Genji play, make that a quad kill. 5-6 kills for Shadowburn.
In 2008, Activision and Blizzard merged into Activision Blizzard, making this one of the biggest forces in gaming. Investors love the money, players love the games. The studio that spent it's done when it's done levels of time polishing games people would play for a decade. But under the surface, things were already starting to rot. The first big public crack in Blizzard's armor came in October 2019. During a Hearthstone Grandmasters broadcast, pro player Blitzchung Wai Chung wore protest gear and shouted, "Liberate Hong Kong, revolution of our times," in support of the Hong Kong protests.
那8个字，然后导播我们就结束，我们就什么也都不要聊了。然后你随时可以开始，头先低下来。
光复香港，时代革命。
导播可以切回来了。
好，导播谢谢。
谢谢，好，可以了，这样可以吧？
嗯，
好，聪哥。我们会进破口吗？这访问会不会太短？我觉得这样就够了啦。
Blizzard reacted hard. Blitzchung was stripped of his prize money. He was banned from competition for a year. The two casters hosting the interview were fired. On paper, Blizzard said he broke the rule against bringing the company into public disrepute by making political statements on stream. But to the community, it looked like a U.S. company bending over backwards to please China. Because Blizzard has big business ties in China through Tencent, the decision instantly set off a firestorm. Boycott Blizzard trended worldwide. Fans posted art of Overwatch's Mei as a symbol of Hong Kong protests, trying to get her banned in China. Blizzard employees literally walked out of the office and covered up company values etched into a campus statue. Even U.S. politicians got involved. A bipartisan group of senators and representatives sent a letter to CEO Bobby Kotick accusing Blizzard of helping censor political speech. Blizzard eventually reduced Blitzchung's ban and gave back his prize money, and President J. Allen Brack opened BlizzCon with a public apology. But he never actually said Hong Kong. For a lot of longtime fans, that was the moment Blizzard stopped feeling like the good guys. If Blitzchung was the first crack, 2021 was the meltdown. After a 2-year investigation, the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing, now the Civil Rights Department, filed a lawsuit against Activision Blizzard in July 2021. The suit described a frat boy culture inside Blizzard, women being paid less than men, passed over for promotion, and pushed out of key roles. Stories of drunk male employees harassing women, making sexual comments, and even a so-called Cosby Suite, where a group of developers allegedly joked about bringing women back to a hotel room. The company's initial response? They called the lawsuit irresponsible and claimed the state was distorting the past. That backfired hard. Over 2,600 employees signed an open letter condemning the company's response. Workers organized walkouts demanding real change, better HR processes, and an end to forced arbitration for harassment claims. While the California case dragged on, the EEOC, another U.S. agency, filed its own harassment and discrimination suit. Activision Blizzard agreed to an $18 million settlement in 2022 to resolve that one. Then in December 2023, the California Civil Rights Department announced a $54 million settlement with Activision Blizzard focused on pay and promotion inequalities for women. Most of that money is set aside for women at the company to file claims and get compensation. No matter what the legal language says about no admission of wrongdoing, the damage in the public eye was done. Blizzard wasn't just the studio with beloved games anymore. It was now one of the central examples in gaming's ongoing reckoning with harassment and toxic workplace culture. So where do things stand now? In 2023, Microsoft finally closed its massive $68.7 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard, making it part of Xbox's empire. At the same time, something really interesting happened inside the company. Workers began to unionize. QA workers at multiple Activision studios formed unions. In 2024 to 2025, nearly 200 devs on the Overwatch team unionized as the Overwatch Game Makers Guild, citing job security, pay, and protection from layoffs as key issues. The Verge Microsoft's labor neutrality agreement with union organizers means these unions are recognized much more smoothly than we've seen in other tech or game companies. So we've got this weird paradox. On one hand, the old Blizzard magic is still there in the games themselves. World of Warcraft is still running, Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2 are active. Fans still show up for cinematic trailers. On the other hand, the brand image is forever tied to harassment lawsuits, the BlitzChung controversy, and years of alleged mismanagement. Can that be repaired? Maybe. But one thing's for sure, Activision Blizzard's story stopped being just about games a long time ago. Now it's the cautionary tale of how even the most beloved studio can fall apart when the culture behind the scenes rots.